2 years. 2 years, Roman Reigns has dominated the game and held on to this championship. 730 days. 2 years. And I've got to say, in my estimation, in my opinion, it is the greatest title run of the 21st century at the minimum. My opinion, it's the greatest title run of all time. You want to know why? From the rivalry, the personal family rivalry between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns was the best storytelling. That is top tier storytelling. To see who's going to be the tribal chief of the family. To see if Jey Uso can hold his own, because it was true. At that point in time, everybody was focusing on Jimmy for whatever reason. I always liked Jey. Wasn't that big a fan of the Usos before the whole bloodline story. I'm going to be completely honest and clear with you. But I always liked Jey better than Jimmy. And he proved himself to be a worthy contender to Roman Reigns. Which is a big deal because Roman Reigns is always thought to be a whole different class than Jey Uso. But he proved that. It solidified Jey Uso as a main event player and as a person who can hold his own. And, of course, it elevated the Universal Championship. Next, Roman Reigns is by far the best storyteller of this generation, period. Okay, we went from Jey Uso to, of course, he had a little stint with Braun Strowman, but, Braun left the company shortly thereafter, so there wasn't really much of a story to be developed there. Plus, we kind of saw it like a billion times. But after Jey Uso, it went to Kevin Owens, pretty much. And him against Roman in those three matches, one being the steel cage, one being a ladder match, and the other being, of course, the last man standing match, was the most memorable of that rivalry. It's awesome. Again, great storytelling. Roman claims at this point that he's the head of the table, and what he means by that is he is the reason why WWE runs. He's the reason why all of these people working in the company have a job. He's the reason why they get to put food on the table. It's solely because of Roman Reigns. And that match delivered. The last man standing one did. I think all of them delivered. Of course, we had a little bit of a fucking, fucked up ending on the last man standing match. But who's to take away from that match just because the ending was botched? Kevin handcuffed Roman to the bottom of... it was where the light stage was. This was during the Thunderdome era. And so he handcuffed him to that pole and he couldn't get it loose. So he knocked out the ref. Paul Heyman comes out with the keys, but he can't unlock the handcuffs. But, everybody else talking about that, but that's not even the number one thing I remember about this match. The number one thing I remember about this match is that golf cart. Roman driving that golf cart straight into Kevin Owens' back. And obviously the ladder match, back and forth and back and forth. I really don't know how many tables Roman Reigns put Kevin Owens through that night. After that, we go to Daniel Bryan. Everybody knows that was one of the best, again, stories of the last 2 years. Roman's carried this company, so here we go again with this story. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns have always been at odds. If you remember back in 2015, WrestleMania, they fought for a chance to, fight against Brock Lesnar at the main event of WrestleMania 31. And that happened. Roman won back then, so at Fastlane, the Elimination Chamber, Daniel Bryan beat all the contestants, all 5 or 6 others I don't remember. I remember Baron Corbin was in the match. I don't remember who else. I think Cesaro was in it too. Jey Uso. Anyways, he won, and then he had to face Roman Reigns for the championship right after. Roman obviously kicked his ass because, he was already destroyed after the chamber. However, he was able to get him in the yes lock and make it just a little bit interesting. Obviously, it didn't work out. Everybody was going to win, but it started a great rivalry. At Fastlane, this is his last chance to get into WrestleMania 37 at all. And we have Edge being a factor there. And again, had tore the house down. Daniel Bryan made Roman Reigns tap out when the ref was out. Edge comes in, bashes both of them with the chair. He wins. Again, great fucking storytelling. Triple threat match, WrestleMania 37. Probably the best, main event of WrestleMania that Roman Reigns had to that point. Of course, Jey Uso was in the mix. He had to put Daniel Bryan and Edge on the shelf, stacked them, pin them. It was over. After that, he elevated Cesaro. See, I can keep going. This is how you know it's a great title reign, because I'm remembering step by step what happened. I just started at the very beginning when, you know, at Payback, he beat Braun Strowman and The Fiend by signing a contract late. You know, he signs a contract when the match is already going on, goes in there, spears the hell out of both of these people, and then pins them. So now going back to Cesaro, he elevated Cesaro. Cesaro by the fans has always been thought of a main event player, a person who can hold the championship. Vince never saw it that way, again, for whatever reason, but Roman Reigns made the fans' assessment of Cesaro true. He elevated that man. It was a great match, and it was one-on-one at Backlash. Beat Cesaro clean, and Cesaro put up a serious fight. After that, he switched back to Edge because obviously Edge wants revenge. Edge believes he's wrong because Daniel Bryan should have never been in that match. And he got his wish. Money in the Bank 2021. These two had a great match. Obviously, in the end, Seth Rollins cost Edge the opportunity because Seth thought Edge was cutting him in line. And by the way, before we get to that, Roman Reigns basically took out Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was going to leave the AEW, and he did it on good terms. He left knowing that the WWE was in good hands. So, again, kind of backtracked there, but now going back to the actual thing. Let's see. So he just beat Edge, obviously, and then this is where I come in the mix as far as being there live for his title reigns. He was there. I was there at WrestleMania. See what I mean? I was on a roll, and I'm fucking up. SummerSlam 2021. I was there to see Roman Reigns defend the title against John Cena. Again, one-on-one. No Usos. Heyman didn't even interfere. Just doing his thing, you know, outside of the ring. And it was a great fucking match, okay? SummerSlam Classics. Roman Reigns is dominating. He's being the heel. And obviously Cena is the hero as he's meant to be. He's not supposed to be booed. And again, Roman's doing his job. He's taking the torch from Cena while making what the WWE wanted in the first place. Cena being the face, him not getting booed, him being the hero, and then we have a clear-cut villain against John Cena. And obviously, it's a double whammy in a good way because the fans have always wanted Reigns to turn heel. So again, it's manifestation of what the fans wanted. Again, another delivery. And here's another thing. After he beats Cena, Brock Lesnar comes back. That was like the pop of the year. I was there. I know. It was freaking crazy. See, this whole title reign, it's unforgettable. It's unforgettable. I'm never going to forget. Like, obviously, I might forget a few things here and there because, you know, we're human. We're not meant to remember everything. But the fact that I can recall each and every single match this far is crazy. That's all you know. And this shit has been going on for 2 years. Okay? Keep that in mind. So he faces Finn Balor because while Finn was originally supposed to face Roman Reigns, but Cena kind of screwed all that up. Corbin was in the mix too. But after Cena lost, Finn cashed in. Obviously, the Usos beat the crap out of him on SmackDown. And this was regular Finn Balor at this point against Roman Reigns. It was a decent match, but obviously since Finn has been busted up, you know, before the match, Roman Reigns was going to end up winning the title, retaining it, and just ending it. After the match, we hear the red lights, or we see the red lights flickering, and we hear this dum, 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 signaling that the demon is coming back. And that's exactly what happens. The demon faces Roman Reigns. Now, personally, I liked this damn match. I really did. It was extreme. I remember the demon coming out with that big candlestick type weapon. It was like 4 or 5 candlesticks put together. It was like it's almost like this sword type of thing, and it was crazy. It was a great match. Had extreme moments. You know, Usos were involved. It solidified how strong the demon really is. And the only reason why Roman Reigns escaped with the title is because by some freaking miracle, which this is still unclear how that happened. Some people think Paul Heyman tampered with the top rope. Other people think, you know, it was loosened before the match because, you know, obviously it's scripted or whatever. But regardless of however you look at it, it's an ending you didn't expect. Whether you liked it or not, it's an ending you didn't expect. And, by the way, an argument can be made why Finn should have won or whatever, but the way that they did it, there's no way that you can deny that the demon had Roman Reigns, and you could have whooped his ass right there. It was this close. He was this close, and he handled the Usos. After that, Crown Jewel, Brock Lesnar. I personally enjoyed this match because this match was different from every single one every single one of the other Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar fights. There was punches thrown. There were slams. Roman Reigns did his jumping over the top rope move. He put the guillotine on him for the first time. You have that storyline with Paul Heyman on where his allegiance actually stood. Was it with Roman Reigns? Was it with Brock Lesnar? We didn't know. And then obviously the Usos got involved. And the moment that sticks out to me in this match was Roman and Brock were down in the middle of the ring, and Paul Heyman's holding the championship like this. Obviously it's folded. He throws it in the middle of the ring. He's like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. And then these people, Brock and Roman are tugging, playing tug of war. Brock wins it, but the Usos come in, super kick him. Roman Reigns spears his ass, and I think he might have hit him with the title too, and he pins him 1, 2, 3. Again, survived Brock Lesnar. If I'm not mistaken, I might forget a fight here, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe this isn't a title match, but it's against Big E at Survivor Series. Him and Big E are like this right now because of what the Bloodline did to the New Day when they went to Monday Night Raw. And these two are going at it, hell of a match. I give Big E all the freaking credit in the world. That man, fucking awesome. All right, awesome. I've always thought Big E was a hell of a competitor. While I don't care for the New Day and their character, I'm never ever gonna deny the type of talent that Big E is. 24 minutes of absolute fucking awesome. Let's be honest. Survivor Series is not a pay-per-view where many people give a shit anymore because it's always the same bullshit. 5-on-5, eliminations, SmackDown versus Raw. Raw always kicks SmackDown's ass. And that's the way it goes. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But this match, along with Becky Lynch and Charlotte that year, 2021, were the two matches that held that pay-per-view together. And again, this is another reason why Roman Reigns deserves to be at the top of the helm. This is another reason why, I don't think he can be fucking replaced right now. But I know it has to happen soon because we can't just keep... if he retired with the titles in my world, that'd be perfect. But then again, I don't know... because again, it's half and half. He's a part-timer now. Bringing us to the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. That match was fucking top-tier storytelling. I know that's been an overused term, at least of this video. But that's serious. Obviously, both guys were part of the Shield. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, obviously Dean Ambrose / Jon Moxley. And he was playing mind games because it's true. Rollins is playing mind games with Reigns because Roman Reigns has never beaten Seth Rollins on a grand scale. Not for a championship, not when it matters the most. He didn't. He hasn't. So, and then he played the Shield card on him. It was like he was playing like this maniacal villain who just knows how to tug on the strings of the hero. Which Roman Reigns... you can look at it as a hero or a villain, but the fact of the matter is, that's exactly what Seth Rollins was doing. That man was pulling away, strutting away at what he thought was, his greatest ally, which was, getting in his head. And that's exactly what he was doing. I honestly thought he was done. I honestly thought Seth was going to get away with this crap. Thankfully, he kicked out at 2 3/4. Again, match of the night for sure on that one. The Royal Rumble this year, I've never thought I'd see a bad Royal Rumble in my life. But I did. That Royal Rumble was shit. Straight up shit. Women's match was alright. Again, I'm not going to get into that again. But the men's Royal Rumble match sucked complete ass. Anyway, he ended up losing to Rollins by disqualification because... and this is what pisses me off about the match. This ending bothers me. Not so much the Demon Finn Balor ending. This is the ending that bothers me. Rollins was out. His hand, he was like all like this in the middle of the ring. His hand was on the mat. Completely out. The ref raises his hand, and somehow he's able to get extension while the ref's holding it up, and he's able to grab the rope. His hand just literally it falls on the rope, and Seth grabs it. I honestly think Roman should have won the damn match in the first place. He was out, but the ref picked up his hand and it landed on the rope. I never got why that is, why it was done that way, but it is what it is. Another thing is, after, again, great storytelling. After the match ended, Roman was pissed, grabs a chair, hits Rollins exactly the way Seth Rollins hit him 8 years ago. Right in the back, and Seth fell just like Roman fell into the bottom rope. Just perfect. And he continued to beat the hell out of him with a chair, just like Rollins and Randy Orton did to Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose that night. Again, top tier, that is memorable. You understand? I'm going to use that word a lot to describe his title reign. Memorable. Then Goldberg, okay, in my opinion and in everybody's opinion, this was a waste of a match. I've never liked Goldberg. I mean, great, he came back 2016, did his thing against Brock, had that rivalry. He lost at WrestleMania after beating Brock in, 96 seconds or some shit like that at Survivor Series, and then one-upping him at the Royal Rumble. Eliminated him right as he got in. And then he lost WrestleMania. He should have just left. But he continues to come back and do these stupid-ass storylines and take spots from deserving people. I don't agree with that. For whatever reason, Vince wanted to make that happen and cost, I don't know, somebody like Kevin Owens a spot or, a rematch with Seth or something. You know what I mean? But instead he put Goldberg in. Roman handled them straight up, one-on-one for 10 minutes. The match was, as exciting as it could get with the Goldberg match. Spears are going to kick out? Yes, he kicked out. He ends it in around 10 minutes, puts Goldberg to sleep, end of that. Time to go home. After Goldberg, it's Brock again at WrestleMania 38. Now, I'm not going to defend this match. This match was lackluster. It could have been done better. It should have gone longer, and there should have been more diversity. It was a repeat of WrestleMania 34, which that's not something you want to repeat. It's just Superman punch, spear, Superman punch, spear, suplex, F5, Kimura lock. Like, that's all they do. And that was my problem with this rivalry. It wasn't the build-up. It wasn't the match. It was what was done in the ring, how it was executed. That was my issue. And this match was no different. I was just happy because, Roman held this title up in the air along with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the same time and solidified himself as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. But the match itself there was a lot to be desired there. And that's just keeping it real. Okay? Another thing is, when you're going to do something this big and call it the greatest WrestleMania match ever, you better pull some shit. And they never did anything out of the ordinary. It's just typical. You know what I mean? Like, it was the same thing with Edge and Randy Orton, which that match was a lot better than this one, but they call it the greatest WrestleMania match ever. And a lot of people thought that it wasn't. You don't give a match like that a label, because whatever you do, it's not going to live up to the hype. And that's not something that you want at the forefront of your product. You don't want to put your guys in a position where they're already set to fail. That's what happened here. Not as bad as Randy Orton and Edge. While it was a better match, they put this thing way up there, and of course, it didn't live up to it because it's impossible to live up to that greatest wrestling match ever. That's ridiculous, impossible. That kind of thing just happens naturally. But to get back to Roman's reign, after he beat Brock, it was smooth sailing for him. He defended it against Riddle on SmackDown. That was a hell of a match. I don't like Riddle at all. I think he's a moron. I think his gimmicks suck. I don't like the way he talks. His in-ring ability is decent. I'm not a big fan of him whatsoever. But I'm not going to deny that he was a badass in this match. He did well against Roman. Again, this is another match where... Roman is professional. He doesn't like Matt Riddle in real life. And Matt Riddle don't like him in real life. We already know why. But they were willing to put business first and give us a match on a regular televised program that happens every single week to put on a hell of a match and give the audience a worthy championship match. Now, as I'm describing all of this, I totally forgot Rey Mysterio. And that match was decent. We all knew Roman was going to whip his ass. It was a Hell in a Cell match. He destroyed him in 13 minutes. That's all I got to say. Entertaining, solidifies him as a tribal chief. Powerhouse when he throws him into the cage from the ring. That was the best moment of that match. Now getting back to Matt Riddle. Again, great match. I love the ending. There was actually times where you thought Riddle might pull this shit off. But once he did that springboard move that he was going for, he never got to it, obviously, because Roman Reigns speared him right out of the air. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Next title defense is the most recent one, and obviously that comes against SummerSlam. At SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. This match, obviously, is the best match that Brock Lesnar has ever had with Roman Reigns, in my estimation. If you're gonna say WrestleMania 31 was, I'm not gonna disagree with you, but for my personal preference and everything that happened, as far as how the characters were, what was done in the match, how extreme it was, the story it was telling, I prefer this match over WrestleMania 31. Plus, at WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins, obviously screwed it up by cashing the Money in the Bank briefcase and, winning stealing the championship. Great moment, great WrestleMania moment, one of the best WrestleManias in modern history, but as we're talking about Roman versus Brock, I'd rather see a definitive winner between them two. But yeah, if WrestleMania 31 is your thing, I'm not even going to argue with you. I'm almost inclined to agree with you, but for me, this match at SummerSlam 2022 was a shit. Period. This man. Because, look, it legitimizes Brock Lesnar. Try to think of a person in WWE history that's won against Brock Lesnar by not cheating. The only name I can come up with is John Cena. But again, it was like, it was John Cena, so of course. But Triple H had some help. Undertaker cheated. I don't really see it. And by the way, I don't really see it as cheating if it's a no disqualification match. Dishonest, maybe. But cheating, in order for it to be cheating, it has to be against the rules. The rules are, there are no rules. So I don't understand how that could be considered cheating. That's just the way I look at it. But this match was great. The spots, the forklift, the chair shots, all the table spots, the vibe of the match. I mean, he lifted the ring. Yeah, it's like I was like, is he gonna, flip it all the way over on his freaking post? I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in WWE. Live as a fan. I've been watching wrestling every day, twice a week, plus pay-per-views since 2011. That was the year I really started to get into it. And I've never seen anything like that before. So again, what is my reason for saying that this title reign of Roman Reigns is the absolute best ever? It's memorable. He elevates everybody who he stepped in the ring with. He's a heel. And he does his job to make you hate him. Because if you're a guy who's straight up, stands for justice and being honest all the time and not agreeing with doing what you got to do when the time comes, you're going to hate him. But unlike most villains like Brock Lesnar has no code. It's, I'm the beast incarnate, I'm going to kick your ass because I can and you can't do shit about it. I'm an ass kicker. I'm not a sports entertainer. Roman Reigns has a code. Behind all this bravado and all the dishonesty at times and the arrogance, he has a code, and that code is family. He will do anything to keep him and his family at the top of the food chain. That's his code. His code's family. This is a villain with a purpose. And I find that a lot more compelling than some guy who's destroying people because he can. So I think this is the greatest title reign ever, in my opinion. And I've seen all of them. I saw CM Punk's. I saw Brock Lesnar's. I went back and watched the Triple H time of terror, or era of terror, whatever they call it. It doesn't come close to this. It doesn't. Sure, I mean, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The only thing I don't like about Roman Reigns' title reign is the fact, again, that the Usos have to interfere as much as they do. I don't mind them interfering every other match. Or every, 3-4 matches, but to do it consistently, especially with Brock Lesnar, every single fucking time. It's a little bit annoying. It's not my biggest, I can't stand it, but it kind of takes away from Roman as an individual a little bit. He doesn't need all that help, really. He doesn't. But, you know, it is what it is. But beyond that, I don't get bothered by much. Everybody should be grateful. They should be thankful as wrestling fans for what he was able to do the last 2 years. Period. That's my thoughts on it. That's my take. What do you guys think? You guys think that there was a better champion in the past 20, 25 years? Do you think Roman Reigns is overrated? Is he underrated? Is he underappreciated? Let me know what you guys think. I think he's underappreciated. The biggest argument as to why his title reign shouldn't continue is because he's a part-time. Which, if that's the only complaint, then that says a lot. I understand it. We need a champion that's going to be there every week, and that's not Roman's prerogative anymore. But to say that his title reign is just like it's boring and it's overstayed its welcome, I don't agree with that. For all the things that I just said, for all those reasons. It's memorable. This is a reign that you're going to remember 10, 20, 30 years down the road if you experienced it in your lifetime. And it's going to go down. It'll be a collection. Peacock or somebody is going to release a Blu-ray disc, a digital collection on Peacock of all these matches. And if you watch them in chronological order and you see how the character develops and who he elevates and how their characters get elevated as well, it's undeniable. You have to acknowledge it. I know I do. And to be honest with you, I'm going to emphasize this again. I was not a big Roman Reigns fan prior to this run. I didn't hate him. I didn't think he deserved all the hate that he got, but I certainly wasn't a passionate fan. But I never hated him. But this reign changed everything. This era needed a champion to step forward and do what he did, and he was the one. And the only reason it didn't happen sooner was Vince McMahon. I love Vince, but seriously, after 2016, in my opinion, he lost touch. Some of you might think that he lost touch a lot earlier than that. But personally, after 2016, he just started dropping the ball. He's no longer in charge. Triple H is, and obviously Stephanie is running the company. So know what you guys think about his title reign. I want to see it in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.